My role as a social worker is to attend to the survivor and to be able to respond to whatever the issue the survivor presents to me. And so there's a huge range. Oftentimes people are most concerned about recurrence, so there's an anxiety about the future. Some people are very self-aware and they can really catch themselves if they start to, what I call it, catastrophizing. So they have a little ache or a pain and the first thought is, oh my goodness, my cancer has returned. But then they can sort of bring themselves back into reality and be more focused on what's real and what's not, and understand that of course there'll be a heightened sensitivity as a cancer survivor. There is a fair amount of survivors who say, I want to be back to the way I was before my cancer. You know, we could wish for being back when we were younger, healthier, but that's really not reality. So there's a new normal. I think that's a fair way to put it. If people don't like that, we don't have to use that phrase. So there's a matter of adjusting and coping with certain limitations that are going to be there. And we can look at them both as losses and gains. I believe that every loss has a gain and every gain has a loss. One of the things that I can do is help people to explore how what they think of as loss may be growth. And there are some people who are really good at this coping and adapting, which I think we do need to do throughout our lives. And the more we're able to adapt and change and adjust to new realities, the more we'll be able to really do well as a cancer survivor. And there are a fair number of people who say it's not been all bad. And I do notice this growth in me that I really like. And I wouldn't say that I'm happy that I was diagnosed with cancer, but on the other hand, I can say I appreciate life more, I understand myself more, and I've grown. And they're actually pleased with some of those changes.
Well, the role of nutrition is very important in survivorship. What you eat plays a big role in how good you feel. When you finish treatment, really reevaluating how you're eating is an important part of mapping out your wellness plan. There are a number of issues that survivors have. Number one being fatigue. I often get asked about what foods to eat to manage fatigue. And the first thing is not so much what you're eating, but when you're eating and how often. So the first thing we do to manage fatigue is look at your meal timing. Are you eating early in the day and eating often? Your body loves to be fueled that way. So have breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, mid-afternoon snack, and a dinner. So you want the majority of your calories earlier in the day. And we really don't want a lot of calories at night. Eating well and knowing how to eat, what foods, the timing of your meals, really helps take the edge off fatigue. Many survivors come in thinking there's something they ate that must have caused this cancer. And they start wondering, what did I do this? What did I eat to cause this cancer? And a big part of my job is to reassure them that that's not the case. And that healthy eating always serves them well. So it is always good to come in and review your typical day of how you're eating with a registered dietitian, and there are little things we can do to tweak it to really make sure that you're getting all your optimal nutrients. And we do that through a very simple picture called Eating the Rainbow. It's the science behind the colors. Each color represents a different grouping of vitamins and minerals and special compounds called phytonutrients. Phyto meaning plants. Nutrients that are only found in plant foods. And what gives the color to the plant are these different phytonutrients. So what's in a purple food is different from what's in a red food. It's different from what's in a white food. So if you get in all these different colors, you're capturing all that Mother Nature has to offer. And so I call that nature's multivitamin.
So my role as the physical therapist is to do several different things. When we meet with patients, I'm asking them how they're doing as far as their strength, their range of motion, their energy level, and also trying to get a sense of what they're doing for exercise. A cancer survivor's exercise plan can vary. The most important thing is to tap into what is what's of interest to the survivor. If you go by the guidelines set by the American College of Sports Medicine and also now adopted by the American Cancer Society, they both say 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise per week. One of my biggest challenges, but also one of the fun parts of my job, is to figure out what exactly is interesting to the survivor. Some people love to walk, other people love to bike, and so you figure out how to tap into that, and then you say, okay, now how do you build that into your life? There's a lot of creativity that goes along with that, but if you can make it very concrete, if you can write it down, and everybody now has planners, iPhones, whatever it might be. So if you can actually plug it into your calendar, it makes that easier to stay more consistent with exercising. One of the other strategies that I use for survivors is to set a concrete goal. Whether that's saying that I want to be able to walk a 5K in 2 months, or I want to be able to bike a 25-mile bike ride 3 months from now, whatever it might be, something that's concrete that they can circle on the calendar and say, I want to be ready for X event. And so in order for me to be ready for X event, I need to be consistent with my exercise between now and then. Some of the strategies that I talk with survivors about, as far as how do you build up your endurance, how do you build up your strength, especially if you're just coming off of chemotherapy or radiation therapy. The idea is that we try to start low, start a little bit conservatively, and kind of build up from there. Because if you give somebody too big of a goal right off the bat, it's unattainable, it's overwhelming, and people are going to shut down. They're going to think that they can't do it. One of the biggest things that survivors go through is that they don't feel like they have control of their life anymore. All of a sudden, the doctors are saying you have to go to this appointment and this CAT scan and this blood work and that sort of thing, and so your life isn't your own anymore. And it's hard, especially if you've been, if you have a job and you have a family, you're so used to things being a certain way, and all of a sudden it's all thrown into chaos. I think for each individual survivor, what is their goal? What is important to them? Do they want to be able to do a 5K, or is it something as simple as, do they just want to go through their day-to-day life and not be in pain anymore? Because all survivors remember what their life was like prior to cancer. They remember that they were able to do X, Y, and Z without pain or without restrictions, and now all of a sudden they are a little bit fatigued, or maybe they do have some limitations of range of motion, or they have neuropathy in their hands and their feet as a result of the chemotherapy. And so, again, is the goal, if the goal is as simple as just to not be in pain, that's still an important goal. That's a very important goal to get people back to a good quality of life. And so whatever that is going to be, whatever the survivor says, my quality of life is X, then that's what we're shooting for.